Toxicity is inevitable in almost every gaming community, especially for a franchise as popular as Super Smash Bros. That fosters a community for competitive gaming. And while yes, the level of toxicity can definitely vary from one community to another, this doesn't mean that the problems that smaller fanbases deal with aren't as significant as the problems that larger communities face. From a social perspective, the nature of competition is toxic because it forces each individual to ignore their opponent's emotions and desires in favor of their own goals and personal progress. So when you combine this with the ambiguity of any social platform on the internet, it can breed an atmosphere of toxicity that is on a constant cycle until we inevitably self-destruct, because at our core we are a self-destructive species that tries to be the best we can possibly be, or at least most of us anyways. Unfortunately, we live in a society where our own selfish desires and goals take priority over the well-being of others, and the internet rewards this kind of behavior, and people will often do almost anything for popularity online. But when people do gain any amount of influence, we would hope that they would use their platform for the greater good and try to help others, or at the very least use their platform to be a positive influence in their community. Sadly, that is not the reality we live in, and there are way too many examples of people who took advantage of their influence and used it purely for their own selfish desires because that was more important to them than the well-being of others. The Smash community is just another example of this kind of behavior, and today I want to highlight the many things that the Smash community does to continually breed a never-ending cycle of toxicity. And it's kind of ironic because despite what some members of the Smash community might tell you, there's no other community it behaves more toxically towards than itself. But before I move on, I want to preface everything else I say in this video by saying this is in no means meant to be a hit piece towards any specific individual or the community at large. This is merely my opinion about how the Smash community treats itself and how we can go about taking the proper steps to becoming a safer place for everyone to join. Don't go out of your way to witch hunt or harass anyone I mentioned in this video, and if that's something you want to do after watching this video, then you're not welcome in my community. Period. We do not condone any type of harassment. With all that being said, let's talk about why the Smash community is toxic to itself. There are many reasons as to why the Smash community has the reputation that it holds now, but one of the biggest reasons is because of the way the players talk about the game. If you've ever lurked in the dark corners of Smash Twitter, then chances are that you've seen one or multiple players complaining about almost anything they can, honestly. Of course, you can criticize any aspect of the game you want. Smash Ultimate is nowhere near a perfect game, but there's a blurry line between valid criticism and hate speech on the internet, and the Smash community treads that line all the time. One of the biggest examples being the reception to the character reveal of Byleth as a fighter for Smash Ultimate. This has to be far and away the most negatively received DLC character in the entire game, and I'm pretty sure that the Byleth reveal trailer has the most dislikes out of any other Smash reveal trailer on YouTube right now. Look, if you're not interested in a character that was recently announced, that's perfectly fine. There were certainly a few announcements that I wasn't too excited about myself, but that doesn't mean you should be going out of your way to throw negative comments towards Sakurai, who is clearly trying his best to work with what he's given and frankly is doing an amazing job. It's not necessary to throw hate speech towards him or any of the other hardworking devs who have been putting their heart and soul into this game. If you're not happy about an announcement but other people are, then let them be happy about it. If you were happy about something and other people were going out of their way to shit on your happiness, wouldn't you be bothered by it too? I know I would. Instead of complaining about what you don't have, you should be thankful that this game exists at all, honestly. Smash Ultimate is nothing short of a miracle, man. Like, did you ever think we were going to have a video game where Super Mario, Minecraft Steve, Sora, Banjo-Kazooie, and Solid Snake can all duke it out in the same arena? I definitely didn't, but in the end, I couldn't be happier that this is a timeline we live in. But this is why I'm just in general very happy to see the positive reception of Sora, because I think it was a beautiful way to end off this game, and I don't think there could have been a better finale, to be honest. But again, unfortunately, the internet rewards toxic behavior, so people will go out of their way to be negative about any aspect of the game as long as it gets them attention, regardless if that's your actual opinion or not. The internet does not reward being truthful or honest unless you're in a situation where being honest is beneficial, but that's a rarity. People who are honest and tell the truth are often shunned or even canceled because oftentimes those people are saying the things they don't want to hear, so it's just a lot easier to cancel them than to actually consider what they're saying and realize that there might be some truth in what they're saying. But that would suggest people online are self-aware enough or mature enough to do anything of the sort, and we all know that's not true now, is it? To the average Twitter user, it's much better to just add to an atmosphere of negativity that gives them clout instead of facing the truth or just being honest, and the Smash community is definitely a great example of this. Like I mentioned earlier, Smash players love to complain about their game, but if you ask me what my opinion is, most of the things Smash players complain about is usually very superficial and just boils down to a lack of skill in the game itself. But I think instead of trying to get better, I think I'll just complain about Rob for the millionth time as long as it gets me those sweet, sweet likes. For the amount of characters that are in this game, Smash Ultimate is pretty well balanced, all things considered, so if MKLeo can win majors with Byleth, then there's no excuse for the rest of us, so stop bitching so much and just get good, bro. Rob is not broken. Joker is not broken. All of the characters that Smash players complain about aren't broken. They just like to complain about them because they get rewarded with attention from like-minded people who are also not good at the game. If there's a specific matchup that you don't like or are not very good at, or just a character you don't like to play against in general, then just counterpick. Just grind that matchup so hard until you know it like the back of your hand. That's the only way you can do it. Instead of complaining about it, just get good. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, y'all need to get good. But why does the Smash community act this way when they don't get what they want? What could possibly warrant such a negative reaction to Byleth? Because the community is spoiled. Plain and simple. Sakurai has given us too much and the expectations are too high. We've had too much of a good thing, and now when expectations aren't met, the reactions are far more negative than they should be realistically. Now I want to dive into the more serious problems that the community faces and how its actions have and still can affect the safety and well-being of its members. Following the events of last summer, I had a lot of time to reflect on what happened, and during that time I came to some conclusions that I want to talk about here. TLDR for the few of you who may not know about this, but during the summer of 2020, many allegations of sexual misconduct and assaults against minors surfaced, and as a result, many top Smash players and figureheads were cancelled for obvious reasons. The way the Smash community handled the allegations all seem to correspond to one key fact, however. The community jumps to conclusions way too fast and believes allegations without hearing the other side first. You can't just throw allegations in a court of law with no real evidence and expect the jury to lock up the accused people or person, but on the internet things just don't work out this way. The biggest example being the allegation thrown against top Smash player Nairo for sexual misconduct with Captain Zack, who was a minor at the time, with proof being backed up by Discord conversations, as well as word of mouth by other trusted top Smash players that were notably friends with Zack. And this is one of the many reasons that everyone automatically believed Captain Zack in his statements against Nairo on Twitter. He manipulated his standing as a minor to sway the internet into his favor when we hadn't heard Nairo's side of the story yet. Unfortunately, the internet just took Zack's side and immediately went to cancel Nairo until earlier this year, when he came back with legal documents suggesting that Nairo was the victim in the situation and that Zack is the one who actually assaulted Nairo without his permission, of course. Zack just did a very good job of not only manipulating the community, but also his friends to stay on his side so that Nairo could stay excommunicado from the community, if you will. After Nairo had released his documents, Zack's friends who initially supported Zack actually went on to say that Zack manipulated them into withholding information and that they knew Zack had assaulted Nairo but stayed quiet about it so that he didn't get in trouble. Thankfully, Zack has since left the community and was called out on his manipulative behavior in not only the situation with Nairo, but in his situation with top Smash player Ally the year prior. And yet, after all the confusion, I still feel like the core issues that caused these things to happen haven't really changed much. The first problem that caused these situations to play out the way they did is that we can't expect top players to also be leaders in this community. Just because they're good at a video game does not mean they're capable of leading others. We need people who we can fully trust as nothing more than the community's best interest at heart and doesn't let personal agendas affect the well-being of others. I'm not throwing any shade at our top players either, by the way. Most of the top Smash players have done a good job of handling the situation and are good influences for the most part, I would say. Yes, they've made their mistakes, as have we, but I don't want any negativity thrown their way either. They have a big responsibility thrown on them that they probably didn't want in the first place, so all things considered, they're doing a good job. But I also think the community has been far too complacent and ends up picking the path of least resistance in the name of peace instead of looking at the core problems that allow these situations to happen in the first place, and we should be working towards finding a way to make the community a safer place for everyone. It feels as if the community wants to make these serious issues go away as fast as possible so things can go back to normal instead of facing our problems head on, and it ends up making more problems for us in the long run. All this to say, things have mostly been resolved, and currently things are looking up for the community, and I just sincerely hope nothing but the best for the Smash community as a whole. I mean, if it wasn't for the Smash community, I wouldn't be the person I am today, and my channel wouldn't be where it is without Smash, and I would hate to see history repeat itself again in the future. I don't want the community to be complacent in its problems and recognize that we still clearly have work to do before we reach the potential for good I know this community has. Anyways, that's all I have to say for now. If you have anything you want to say about what was discussed here, then feel free to leave it in the comments. I'm always open to other perspectives. Let's have a discussion and not an argument. Thanks for watching, and happy Sora Day, guys.